One, two, three. Good afternoon, world. Hi, you will make it TV viewers, supporters, and listeners across the globe. We are back. I said I was going to be doing a marathon of insightful topics, live topics this week. Come on, baby, open it. Hmm. But yeah, that was the major announcement I had made last night, right here on the You Will Make It TV channel. But please feel free to tune in to previously recorded segments as well. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Anytime you're able to reserve some time, put some time to the side, and just come on over and listen in with us over here. Tune in with us here at You Will Make It TV. Y'all bear with me as I get a little warmed up into this topic. Uh, I will be sparing at least 35, 45 minutes to dedicate some time to, because it took me a minute. It took me a minute as far as this topic right here. Um, Not because it's like, really, what do you say? What do you say to some of this stuff? Uh, Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to hit that like button. I'm tired of seeing it. It's so crazy what leads us to finally have a voice about something, and I'm tired of seeing it. People can sit here and go through everybody else's records, everybody else's business. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to files about other people's life, I mean, you don't even have to be the DOJ no more to get access to files to other people's life. That's how crazy it is. Just be somebody with a little clout, with a little fame, with a little status. You're gonna find out real quick that the personal business. The internet has shown us that time and time again. Uh-oh. I'm sitting here trying to brew me a new thing of coffee though. But still, I'm here for the next 30 minutes. Like, share, and subscribe for more insightful topics. But whether you guys like, share, subscribe or not, I've already made that announcement. We're going to be having a mania marathon this week on topics that really matter here at You Will Make It TV, because we can't be telling people they're going to make. I mean, what are we making it through? We've had no choice but to. Talking about, you don't have to be a part of the Department of Justice. That's why, I mean, I'm saying people may still respect them and everything, but the reality is it's way more than the Department of Justice these days. They have questions. They go on these internet investigative searches and go dig up video. It ain't just the Department of Justice doing it. I'm gonna tell y'all that right now. You got regular common people who feel at any given time they can go look up some information about somebody. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, I gotta turn this alarm off. But that's something I noticed. You don't even have to be the police anymore, but we do have too many people trying to be the police, if you ask me. But that's just my opinion. Now, we know that this is not a comfortable topic for everybody. If it is triggering to hear us talk about the Epstein, why these files are being hidden for certain people, if that's going to trigger you, just don't even come on my channel today, because that's not right for other people to be able to have an opinion about it, and others don't. That's retarded. That's exactly what we're talking about too. It's in people's faces how much we're protecting. Because what are you protecting? Like, oh no, we don't want to release the names. Poor criminals. It's retarded. Who let's remember who really suffers at the hands of criminals, because it's usually not the criminals that are suffering. Usually they're the ones that are benefiting. They're the ones who would actually like to keep these enterprises and rings going as well, so that they can continue making money doing whatever they were doing. And the people are right about that. I've been sitting back watching people's opinions. The people are right about that. That's crazy. So you're gonna make the actual victims be susceptible to people digging in their business, in their files, in their records. They really been out here going through it. Some of them, some of these victims, and I mean all of them that we've been talking about lately. Some of, I'm sure some of Diddy's alleged victims. That's the thing too. Don't even let people find out you're supposed to be an alleged victim. Alleged is enough. That's enough for some people. They're like, what? Well, I want to be all in that person's business and real and personal. I want to know everything about that person suddenly, even if, because they forget that. They forget what the word alleged means. There's a big difference between alleged and actually prosecuted. Would you like a juice? Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter who's forgetting about it. Not all of us, I'm just speaking up, not all of us have forgotten the difference between actually prosecuted and accused and alleged. Uh, there's a whole difference between the meaning of all three of those words, but with the Epstein's files, these are not just allegations anymore. These were real witnesses. Here, baby. Here. Well, it'll be right here for you. These were real people that have already suffered at the hands of other people already. It's one thing to go back in a person's childhood and say, look at how bad of a child they were. Some of these people, you wouldn't even suspect that they would have turned out the way they did. That's how good of children they were. That's how good of parents they were raised by, too. But nobody wants to talk about that. You're only quote unquote good or bad parent. I'll never let nobody put that label on me. Just because it's their opinion of whether I'm a good or bad parent. Okay, well, this is where it gets interesting to me or the next parent going through it, because you got filthy rich parents who kids been out here going through God knows what, because people still have money, power, struggle, uh, points that they're trying to make. If you ever thought a kid was just 100% safe, you're one of the part of the problem. Just because their parent was filthy rich, that's crazy to believe that anyway. Don't everybody think? For too long, the narrative surrounded the more poverty-stricken children and families. They always said those are the ones you need to watch. I was talking about this a little bit last night on my stream topic about homelessness too. If people really say they're trying to work towards, I don't even think they're trying to work towards fighting homelessness anymore at this point. Trump is making it very clear though too. Like, yeah, we're getting the homeless off the street in DC. You know what I mean? How is that showing you care about the homeless deploying soldiers and stuff out there just to help you get them off the streets? Not police, whole military police. You see what I'm saying? Then you want to call the military police to watch anybody. They're supposed to be suspicious if they are one of the part of the people saying, release those files. What's suspicious about that? They're telling you openly. People want to know more about what's going on, or why it's okay for you to go dig up everybody else in the world files and records about things, especially the poor victims. The poor victims, it's like they got to research their whole life to believe them, to see if I don't even know why they do that. I guess it's to see if there might be any real truth to what they're talking about. But what would you need to be in a victim of something's business when you don't care to look at the criminal at all? These are not new issues. They are just more in our faces, though. it's too late to say, well, we don't want people talking about that. Really, that's why I have peace about it. Anything people want God to know, I don't care how hard you try to fight it, it's going to come out, whether that's a lie or the truth, because it's some truths that people do try to protect. I don't see anything wrong with that. It depends how far did they have to go for that truth. But that's where I have a problem with it. Like, why are you more out here researching bank accounts and people's medical records and stuff, but you want to have a team of politicians and government officials who protect you in a case you might have been involved? That's people's problem. That's people's problem. They weren't interested in looking in Mr. Trump's records before they voted him in. Now you want to be like, no, release the files. I'm really confused right now. Like, where was people did have antennas about it, but what was all this? Just like it's being plastered everywhere after P. Diddy went to jail and all of this. Where was people, you know what I'm saying, voices about this same thing when it was election season? Just a little question there. It could sound like I'm not on the defense of either side. I have been more standing for the real realities of what lies and truth are, and how lies and truth, it's a lot of money that's around both of them. So we're not going to sit here and try to downplay suddenly Christian communities or any communities that was out here even standing on preaching about truth or trying to teach truth a little bit. Y'all, school's starting right now. I guarantee you the school's going to be teaching the kids tell the truth no matter what. They say, oh, that's just a thing that we teach kids, because I'm tired of that. They want to control who's in control of teaching kids what. But you never try to call yourself silencing somebody who's out here on the side of still doing it, actually encouraging kids to tell the truth every chance they get. People okay with kids telling the truth. Oh, there's one thing about a kid, they gonna tell the truth. Yeah, it's some adults gonna tell the truth too. And it's just really sad. You know what I'm saying? I should have titled this the age of what, the king truth tellers. Like, look what they're actually doing to them. Kids too. Because I was wondering what happened to that one girl that kept coming out telling her story about what she was going through as a young girl at those Diddy parties. That's an old time quote. They've been saying it. Like, it's really weird how much. That's why people looking at that. I hope ain't no sneaky stuff going on. They need to stay on top of it, to me. Like, yeah, if you got people trying to do sneaky stuff and overpower their position and say, yeah, we're just trying to get rid of the Constitution or certain parts of it. Like, you're a powerful person. What you did must be really, really bad to have to sit there and try to switch the whole Constitution for everybody else. Oh, it's okay for you to dig in everybody else's business and records pertaining to a matter. Nobody is off limits with that. These days, the real public records is the internet. Any public records you want to see, you can go right to the internet these days, to somebody's channel or page, and they want to be the head source of people's business. I've been telling y'all there was a problem. We got so many unreliable sources trying to control the narrative. And then if a new source pop up, everybody just supposed to question it. It's weird. It's a weird day that we're moving into. Period. The day you even mentioned that you could have been a victim of something, I swear, it ain't before the Department of Justice can even get involved. You got the whole streets, neighborhoods, communities, counties feeling like they have the power or they have the right to go in any and everybody business and try to tell a story about their life. It's really crazy. I never thought we would see the day where like literally so many. I'm not even starting with the poor class right now. We know in the poor, poverty-stricken communities what's been going on with a capital BEEN. But I am shocked to see more of what we've been learning about. People actually with a lot of money. It's crazy. People don't want to accept that they've been out here celebrating and cheering on people just because they quote unquote look successful, but they never thought to question at any given point, like, oh, how is this person accumulating this much funds? We just sitting out here calling them successful and cheering for them. People who actually sit on yachts every weekend, they not trying to hide their money. That's the thing about it. Most people with money, they're very, very flashy. They've never hid that. But they want to say, well, now I want to use my money to keep people out of my business. That is so retarded. And you think now, and then you want to wonder why people think certain things are obvious. Because, like, out of all the things you can use your money to do, you putting all this enforcement into protecting records and files. It's crazy. Even the JFK and Martin Luther King files have been released lately. Did y'all notice that? It's even certain things, just a lot of things that were like classified that really have been released to the public lately too. We shouldn't have to wait 20, 30, 40, 50 more years. It's been enough of that going on as it is. When it comes to certain cases, like why we gotta wait generations to find out the truth. That's why I believe whatever they say that's called, what they say that's called, destiny swap. I feel like it's very real. Like all you got to do is sit back and watch some of these trials and court cases lately. It's like people trying to just dump and swap. I don't know. I'm just speaking on it because it really doesn't matter. The truth is always going to overpower a lie at the end of the day, even if spiritual justice has to step into the arena and expose it for people. You know what I mean? I really believe that it's some people rather watch everything crash and burn before the truth come out about them. It's stupid. Is that a tiger? Oh, he's so cute. It's a baby. What is he eating? It's a baby. Oh, it's a baby tiger. Oh, he's so cute. I'm still here, guys. 1 second, 1 second. Here you go. Okay, I'm back. I had to pause it really quick so I could do something, but it's crazy. You know it's the truth when armies, all kind of armies and teams and cults. It's so stupid to see the father of lies work even harder. Like he don't the father of lies don't even understand how he's exposing himself right now. Look how far you'll go to. Cause something that's not a lie, you just seem you'll be more reserved. They wanna make it like there's something suspicious about the reserved of the world, those that hold their peace and sit there in humility and humble. That's not suspicious. That would tell me a person like that don't have nothing to hide. I swear they've been trying to switch the narrative with that. Like, yeah, a quiet person is the suspicious one. No, look at the one quick to run and tell and dig up everybody else fouls, but talking about, oh, that don't matter. That's who my heart go out to. Don't you know every time you get on national television and tell people the fouls don't matter, you are stepping on another victim? It takes a lot of courage to be uh, the victim to certain crimes. Because for a long time, people like, we talked about this on another stream, like the realities of everybody want to stand up and say, oh, the truth is the right thing to tell. But they want to sit here and pretend like we haven't for generations see the way that truth tellers have been hung and hung on the line to dry too. Just hung out there and left out there just for doing something like telling the truth. Mm-mm. We can all make predictions all day long. Like, okay, where is this gonna head? Because this particular presidential term has at least 3 more years. I would say that's a long time to 3 more years of presidential term. That's a long time to make up in your mind, like, yeah, uh, I'm not going to give the American people the truth about something. If you cared about the American people, why are you disregarding what they're asking you for? They're not even asking for Medicaid or funding or anything. Release the files. Release the tapes. They're asking for stuff like that no more. They're not asking for the homeless or extra funding or anything. It's suspicious as hell when people are only asking you the truth about something and you giving them everything the truth about any and everybody else. So back to what I was saying though, I never thought I would see the day where like so many, even if we don't get the files, guys, that's what I'm saying. Like if the files never get released, there's other things that can probably tell a story. I never thought I'd see the day though, like so many rich people uh look sickly. Sickly. Like that's a whole telltale sign in itself. That's crazy. Like how do you have millions of billions of dollars and you still look sickly? Sickly. We knew sicknesses were running rampant in poverty-stricken communities. Okay, how much more do you want to advertise there? That's not new. Poverty-stricken communities have always been uh, plagued with drugs and crime and sicknesses and corruption. I didn't say it's right, but that's not new news. It's more what people have been finding out with about people with money though. Like, come on, bro, I never seen a time where so many celebrities look actually sick, whether they want to tell us publicly they're sick or not. All these celebrities are not old enough to already have leukemia, cancer, kidney problems. How is you a millionaire and you still suffering? Every time you turn around, you got another sickness. Make that make sense. Even when it comes to preventative care and things you could be doing to keep yourself healthy, you have the resources and funds to do it when you're a rich person. That's why it make people think something way more going on when we talk about plagues and sicknesses, or maybe them just out here intentionally getting people sick so they can't talk about stuff. It's really sad what the celebrities might have been going through behind the scenes. You thought you had to worry about they thought it was only important to teach people to wrap up and watch who they sleep with in poverty stricken communities. Okay? But the truth is still the truth is still doing her job. The truth is still gonna show. You know what I mean? This is what I mean. Like I said, when have we ever seen so many rich people suddenly look gravely ill, bro? It's always sudden. It's always sudden. Then they always blame it on drugs or this person's wild lifestyle. We all know that the main people that feel like they can divorce and get married 100,000 times and date 1,000,000 people has always been the rich. They're the main ones be practicing their quote unquote sedentary lifestyle where they just live wild lives. Not every rich person. Shout out to the more reserved ones who you barely see in the news behind any mess. If you don't see them on a Hollywood movie, you're not gonna see them because they keep a more quiet lifestyle. Like I'm really want to give respect and credit where it's due to those celebrities that have been with quote unquote the same wife or husband for over 10, 20 years. That's to be respected. But those that you just saw bouncing around from relationship to relationship, do y'all think that's a coincidence? Could it be deeper? Like, do you think some of the industry members or the elite or the rich, do you think these cases are more intentional, or they're just a lot of random victims out here just randomly catching stuff? Which one do you expect us to believe? When it's even happening to the high class popping up out of nowhere, looking sick and feeling sick, and even trying to, and if they speak on it, look what happened to them. That is a reason to be angry, I guess, if you're the devil. You done sat here and used 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people to try to convince others, oh, it's okay to live a free, what do they call it? Casual dating, casual sex, casual everything. They actually teach as long as you're doing it casually, there's nothing wrong with it. That's weird. Like I said, you've been noticed that it's the party goers, the main party goers, that was out here sleeping with everybody. That's not new. Parties have never been illegal, have they? That's exactly why people are talking about this. Parties have never been illegal, but it's what is coming out people were using these parties to do, or where people are saying they were set up at. Let's remember, take off from the Migos, for example, the Migos rap group. He was at a whole party when he lost his life. That's why me personally, no thanks when it comes to parties lately. You know what I mean? People will whole invite you to stuff just to set you up. And that don't always have to be like MK all the time. It's so many different ways to affect a person. And you know it's deep depending on how it unravels a person was set up. You know, they've been kind of advertising Trump showing his power, giving that quote unquote what's that called? Pardons to certain people. People were sitting back watching very closely about like who's been receiving quote unquote pardons lately or excuses for their crimes. They can just get out. It's called a pardon. So people were watching it like what they were gonna be very angry if they saw certain people receive a pardon. I guess they're saying some crimes are just unpardonable. You know what I mean? Like, and once we actually lose touch with that, like you can just pardon anybody for anything, then you still got a problem. It's like I can see that happening, how God has been moving in people's hearts to more speak from their hearts. I'm not just going to call it the truth. What else do you call it when a person is speaking from their heart? Not just speaking how people want them to speak or speaking in a way that people expected them to speak. We're living in a time where that's all people want. They just want to be heard from their heart. Anyway, whether you're talking about politics or whatever, why are y'all trying to force this generation at this time? That's a little suspect in itself. All right, everybody in this generation, just be quiet. I don't think so, buddy. I don't think so. We were talking about last night how there's been a whole lot of movements in the history of this country about different. This would just be a new one. That's why it would be history making and world changing. This would just be a new type of uh you know what I'm saying, movement. Because whoever stood up for it, like, let's be honest, who has ever truly, like, as a whole, what they would call civil rights leader, about uh sexual crimes against people and sexual victims, and like how long this has been going on? That is so stupid. They be like, yeah, predators are always somebody close. I'm so tired of all of this stuff. I really am. Because you seem to be expertise in knowing. You've researched predators enough to know that, huh? How is that helping people to know that the predators are usually close, bro? And we're still supposed to try to keep... What's wrong, Pooh? You need help? Here, let me help you. No need to panic. Let me help you. I got you. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? Like, it's not... We don't have a time we can flip through the history books of American history yet and say, this was a big major move that had to happen against pretty much like certain SA cases. So you can deploy the National Guard just for regular crime, street crime. You can send them out there to DC or to New York to help manage the crime. Well, let's be more general about it. Crimes go from A to Z as far as what type of crimes it is that people have been out here committing and sometimes getting away with. It's so crazy to actually see a group of people out here doing their best to like hold back the truth of just about one particular type of crime. Like, it must be bad. It must be very bad. I'm one of those that believe anyway, slavery never disappeared. It just came it came back in new forms. You get what I'm saying? I hate to put it that way, but that's what they don't want to come out, that might be true. Just because, and you still have people, that would mean you have them irrelevantly being racist for no reason, because slavery has always meant more than about race. Slavery was always about money first. All right? Slavery was always about money, money, money. Even there were prophets in the Bible that was sold out, by their own close people. So they are true about that. What they teach about predators, yeah, they can be your closest people. They said it don't always come from outside or from a stranger, as if like to protect strangers. You can't teach a stranger danger and then say, no, only the predators are the ones in you're the ones you're close to first. You got to watch them. I say both statements are true. Stranger danger is true, and the people that you trust, you got to watch them too. That's not a new thing you can teach somebody today. We all learned that right at school. They started teaching you stranger danger at an early age, but they didn't go deep enough into teaching the kids, like, I guess what you would call appropriate secrets and disappropriate secrets. Appropriate secrets is something that you actually should tell, no matter how much a person threatens you. An inappropriate secret is maybe more of a secret that Y'all get my point. Not just teaching stranger danger. You need to also teach appropriate. I mean, come on, bro, because they say they're so experienced in studying the psychology of certain criminals. I guess they think the more they decorate the White House, the more police they put out here. It's just really crazy what we're seeing. If you can sit there and deploy and send National Guard and military police outside to handle basic petty crimes, people said in the first place, had they started this a long time ago, just making more of a major example out of SA predators, them specifically. Look at the story of Jeffrey Dahmer. This country is still coming a very, very, very long way as far as like taking people serious the first time, actually treating the victims with some kind of respect, because it seems like people don't care usually until it's them. And then that's where they see how messed up like the truth about everything. Like they thought they could just run and go tell somebody, "Oh, I was SA'd. I was SA'd against my will," or "I was SA'd for no reason," or "I was SA'd to intimidate me." They thought they could just come out and say that. And you still got people out here playing like, "Well, say something." That's why God's showing people too. It's like he's the mastermind now. Even when a person don't quote unquote say something, God is testing people. Okay, even if they don't say nothing, when it's right in your face, God is already saying that about people. What do they do? Turn their head, pretend they don't see it, say it ain't their business, put the blame immediately on the victim, which is, by the way, there's a term for that. It's called victim blame shift. That's exactly what that's called. If we notice with most, why is it always that the victims are crazy and they're just looking to lie on somebody? That is so crazy. That's like saying predators don't exist in. But you sitting out here teaching everybody to watch out for predators, make your mind up. So, oh, you were just teaching it for awareness, huh? It's almost like they teach this awareness stuff just to get this campaign money and pretend they care about certain things that victims go through. It's really strange. But if somebody actually walks and practice the awareness that they've learned about something, you see, the best we could look at a person like that is a threat. Well, maybe you should have more, instead of keep preaching, everybody just practice sex and freedom of sex and be sexuality who you want to, and just don't worry about what people think. Just be who you want to be. I say there's a little fault in that, right? Especially when you get angry after who them people were choosing who they want to be, and they end up victims to certain stuff. And then you want to sit there and get mad at the victims. But yeah, that's what that's called, victim blame shift. Something like that, where you actually shift the blame back on the victim. Like, well, she must have liked it. But you just slap that person. And you say because they had no response, because they didn't wince, because they didn't even say, ow, that hurt it, that they shouldn't be treated as a victim. It's just crazy. It's evident, bro. Like they are fighting. They're pushing back on these fouls and keeping them secret as if the whole country depends on it. Literally, because if they're not doing it, then we should see them release them. Whatever the people have been demanding. If the country don't depend on it, why? What's the big deal? Because like I said, it seems like they can go dig in anybody else files at any time and then plaster them all over the internet too. I guess Donald Trump saying it's very, very real, bro. They've been doing it with everybody lately. What do you mean? You're not exempt from that. See, that's what I'm saying about money too. Though the devil tried to play it that way, no, you cannot buy your way out of every secret. Oh, with tangible money, with the same dirty money that you probably receive behind hurting somebody. I bet they thought they would never see the day that it becomes illegal to intentionally like sit there and bruise somebody's ego, sit there and bruise somebody's emotional state through dismissing. People want to know that they are standing. I think we can all agree about that. People quick to say, I'm a MAGA supporter. I'm a Trump supporter. I stand with the Republicans. How other way can I put it? They are so proud to say what they stand behind. Like proud with a capital P and an exclamation mark at the end. They be so proud to say, yeah, I follow Trump. So what? But now, do you really care about children like that? Do you care about victims of SA assaults, not just in America, but across the globe? Like, we are seeing how people really are. It's funny how the actual thing you think you're shifting the conversation about in the room is deflecting from another conversation, but it's actually exposing that other conversation without you saying nothing at all. When you just stand there and still support somebody who is also just the one act, they might be sitting there silencing 20,000 other victims. Since we're talking about movements and sometimes what sparked them and how we've never actually had one here in America pertaining to these type of crimes. That's just a movement we've never seen yet. That's why everybody and it shows like that there might be people trying to prolong it, delay it, even alleviate the thought of it. Like, look at it, he already weaponizing military police against the people. Like, yeah, y'all better shut up, don't be asking me about the fouls. I told y'all I'm the president. I will, and then you're just doing all these tactics. Look, I will cut off y'all food stamps. I will cut off your Medicaid. I will withdraw funding. Don't sit there and keep asking for the fouls. I'm gonna make the American people feel it all kind of ways. Cause like, what moves are we seeing that are still working for the people? Actually, you sitting there trying to hide behind choices you feel like the man is making that you support. But see, it's those moves a person don't make it all too. That people would just assume, well, the person don't care. Maybe I never thought about that, but people look at it one-sided, like, oh, maybe they're trying to keep the fouls hidden to actually protect people's names, people's circumstances, people's victim traumas. But when we all think about it, it's really not fair because, like, that's never mattered when they release records about other cases. It's crazy. They see R. Kelly case was no secret at all. P. Diddy's, there's nothing secret about it. But you'll notice once you get to looking at another class of people, maybe even higher class than them, all kind of stuff be that no, this is secret. We're trying to protect the victims. That's why we're gonna keep. Like, how did that matter with all the other women, with all this other stuff that people have been locked up for when it came to SA crimes? Then I just want to talk about a little bit how long that's been prevalent, just in our country alone, as if it's a whole weapon though. Like, they learned the effects it has on the victims, but I don't think it was for good reasons. They learned the empowerment it might give a psycho who's actually putting a person in that position. That was enough information right there for you to want to stop that as much as you can, which I can't say that maybe the president hasn't shown us signs that he was trying to do that too, because like we know in other countries that's been real bad. That's to keep their people in line, or I don't know. It just seemed to be more. That wasn't new at all when you talk about other countries, but here it's not new actually either. On whole plantation is worth talking about. It's a great time to discuss it. Like, look how far our country has come, bro, or so we thought. But right there on those plantation farms, a lot of people don't like to research it and talk about it in modern day because it's still very gruesome stuff. And grape and essay assaults was actually one of the main weapons they would quote unquote use to keep their slaves in line. What they call it with the men, they would call it buck breaking. With the women, how they would disrespect the husbands on the plantations to keep their slaves in line, they would take their women and pretty much do all kind of unusual gruesome sexual acts to them right there in front of their husbands because they knew it was a mental game back then. Like, how else do you keep you don't have to keep a chain on the person that you have mentally bound. That's how deep it is. Emotionally bound, you have them emotionally scared. Why do you need a chain for that person? They ain't going nowhere. You have them, you know what I'm saying? It's like they've been seeing that. That's what the whole Willie Lynch letter is about, bro. Like a whole breakdown of how to quote unquote, literally, the book is called How to Make a Slave. And it's just mysterious. It's coincidental, if you ask me, that is they got a whole chapter in that book about how you can make a slave and keep a slave through lewd SA abuses. Literally, all you got to do is go research it today. What he gonna do? Ban books soon? That book has never been banned. Anybody can still go read it or purchase it or get it at the library. It's called How to Make a Slave, written by Willie Lynch. Literally, because I want people to think about this. Of course, back then it was written only to keep a certain kind of people as a slave, but it's real funny. No matter who you sexually assault, even today, it's going to have the same effect as it would have had on a black slave as it would on another race. They thought slavery was just about the people receiving whiplashes and not being able to think. It was way deeper than that. When you actually look at the type of tactics and weapons and tools that were used specifically, like specifically to keep people. Back then, you couldn't just speak up about that. The wife couldn't just tell her husband, "Oh, look what they just did to me." She didn't have to say that. They made him watch. They made him watch. Sometimes they would commit these acts, and this is for his history and educational purposes as well. This stream topic I'm doing today, because I bet a lot of people didn't know that. I'm not here. I'm not here to mock them. I'm giving them a place where they can start looking about it. Like how long we came as far as the Constitution, how far we came as far as rights and movements, how far we came to change the way that Americans once thought their thinking process. Because how could you think that's okay to have a book, a lesson on how to keep a person a slave? That book is still not banned today. That's what I've been looking at too. Like, why were certain books banned? BANNED. Because that one is not banned. It's called How to Make a Slave. And I don't believe only that's probably what people think. Like, yeah, only Americans use the Willie Lynch letter to keep their slaves in check. It's probably other lands of people too. Societies that tried those same methods. This was written specifically out for black people though, because of how quote unquote strong they were known to be, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like how strong of a people they were known. Some of these tribes and islands and stuff they came from, their very culture was built on the foundations of strength and knowledge and wisdom. So that is what it is. Why you gotta be the one to tell you who a black person is? No, 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 sweetie. This is historically proven already. Like they were known to be strong. That's why you had to bring in a whole person like Willie Lynch to tell you how to break them, how to keep them in line. And I'm sorry, sexual acts was one of the number one ways on his list. Exploiting somebody that way, and see, video cameras weren't even out yet. What you would call mainline photography, it wasn't out there for everybody at easily access back then yet. Camera phones and Instagram and this stuff wasn't out like that yet. hmm They can wonder, why do you seem so reserved or quiet? Because I've been doing my research for a long time, and not just on the Epstein files or what I think is going to happen with them or who might have been on the list. No, I went way back to all these different histories of times that people were slaves that really can be proven in history books. The type of methods they use, you get what I'm saying? The type of methods they use to keep. I know this is a deeper topic, and I'll be back with a part two later. Because I'm feeling like if people don't believe me, do I need to actually read from the text in the Willie Lynch letter? Because we have a right to. It's a part of history. It'll blow your mind to read that today and actually feel like you shouldn't feel like a little bit any of the laws and regulations and the way people been acting even resemble that. If it was like, I didn't say the actual book was banned, but those practices and tactics and techniques, we shouldn't even see that resembling being used on people a little bit when we know those tactics were used during the whole time of periods of slavery in this country. It's beautiful to read the Constitution at any time, but why wouldn't you be interested in reading other books that help contribute to the foundation of this country? Why wouldn't you want to read other letters, other laws, other publications? For example, you have Miss Phyllis Wheatley, who literally wrote her way to freedom. WROTE. A little education, it's not a secret, definitely changed that slave's life. You get what I'm saying? And she wasn't the only one. You don't know what people had to do. You don't know what people had to do to drag their whole families out of bondage and slavery. That's another question. What did you think illegal immigrants themselves were running from when they left their countries? I'm not saying they were all being abused and going through slavery, but why did people first start coming to America? Be honest. The land of the free, the home of the brave. Why did they even pack their families up and come over here and take the risk to be a whole immigrant if stuff like that wasn't already going on in their countries too? You never took the time to pull an immigrant to the side and say, what is it that you really were running from or running to when you came over here? Or do you just assume they all came over here for the same reasons? The same reasons would also include some of the same things Americans are running from. A human is a human, and nobody should be forced to work and do stuff against their will. I don't care where you go. Now, as a worldwide global humanitarian problem, we got to admit that's been a problem. The value, the use of a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, bro. Like I told y'all, but when I come back for part 2 later and I actually read from this text, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It was written that they were to intentionally humiliate a black parent if you were trying to break a family and keep them. What was the purpose of that? Well, that's more money in the slave master's pocket. It's actually a lot more money when you got ways that you can keep that person bound without a chain, without a whip. They was already trying to modernize, if you ask me, modernize slavery. Just like to a slave master, think about it. The less tools they have to use to actually keep you a slave, the better for them, right? Now we don't need chains. We got this, we got that. I don't care how you put it though. It's still a form of slavery if it's just a whole weapon used to overpower somebody. An emotional weapon. Oh yeah, against their will. Yeah. Because if you went around to many plantations back then and interviewed the slaves and asked them, do you feel like you're here against your will? They was going to answer and tell you yes. There was no slave walking around back then and it wasn't against their will. That's the point of calling it slavery. Like, no, I'm going to tell you what your will is. And your will is not asking any questions, not looking any deeper into why I have you as my slave. You're just my slave. That's all they wanted them to know. That's why I say knowledge is still a powerful force, because you think slaves just got out of what they were going through with no knowledge of their rights and stuff at all? And yeah, rights, how do you have rights in a place that you weren't even, that wasn't even your land? You were just brought over there. Come on, bro. How do you have rights? When you talking about the black victim of any sort, you are talking a different conversation when black people actually went through that. Like, it wasn't any rights for them to fight for because those rights didn't exist. So why would you get offended to see one rise up and stand up a little bit and now use the rights that are available for their kind? For their kind. Any victim, like I said, a victim could be any race or culture. With black victimization though, not only is there a whole history, it's the only people that they wrote a whole book, a whole Willie Lynch letter on how to keep a slave. But the book is actually called How to Make a Slave. But like I said, it's going to entail very, very particular details that is scary to even think about. Like, there's a book out there called How to Make a Slave. Forget the witchcraft books and books they doing spells from for a second. There's still books out here with the whole title called How to Make a Slave. But you want to stop a black author. Because why? You want to stop a black author for what? I wouldn't. You better make sure it's a really, really, really good reason. Because these people done even been able to publish books and music and poetry, you name it, right from behind bars. So how bondage of a person, how much bondage are you trying to keep on a person? Because when you are brought into things like uh, drug trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, tell me that's not a form of slavery. That's really what you're talking about when you're talking about some of these cases. The slavery of other humans. And the reason they usually go after that bigger fish is because it was usually your idea. You're the main slave master. That's why me personally, I don't agree with pimping. I would never submit to it willingly because it's too close to slavery. You can try to make a slave feel as free as you want to by giving them certain luxuries. It's still not a luxury if only you control when I have a luxury. That's crazy. It's supposed to be a luxury because I got to eat a piece of chicken today. But had I ate that piece of chicken without your permission, it's not a luxury. I'm gonna actually be quote unquote abused or attacked or accept a whiplash. Yeah, because in the Willie Lynch book, that's exactly what it tell them. Just give them a lash. You know what I'm saying? Mess with one of their family members. Make a huge statement to them right there in front of their family. I bet you keep that slave in line. See, I have a lot more research to do because I know slavery wasn't just anything that surrounds money. There's contracts to it too. If you think those slave masters on the heads of everybody they had on their plantations, you're crazy. That's exactly how they were able to keep up with the number of slaves and the slave families that one would keep in a generation. They kept this generationally. Sally's mother, Sally could have been black. Her mother was a slave. And Sally worked for the family with the last name Satterfields. The Satterfields' daughter and Sally's daughter were the same age coming up together. That's how deep this go with slavery. Like they're trained as kids to already know, yeah, I'm in power. When it comes to black people, that's actually in the history of what we have already overcome. Or it's shown already, it's proven already that we have to overcome. I don't even want to call those like, what do you call it? Yeah, you call it what it is. We've already overcome certain bondages and slavery. Here. See, you messed it up. Y'all would just be surprised, like I said, if you go back and watch the Willie Lynch. I mean, not watch it. They probably do have documentaries about it though. Documentaries with an S, but there's an actual book actually. I swear, the last time I read that, just reading the first page, I was already different because that's what real truth and knowledge does. It shows for itself. The first time I read the Willie Lynch letter, just like one paragraph, it take a strong person, just know that. It take a strong person to sit there and read that. Whether you're black or not. So it make you wonder what was wrong with the person who wrote it, who created it. We got to understand this is bigger than it's just bigger than what I think people understand. Slavery always has something to do with contracts, documents, and paperwork and money. But if you never come up on the information that your family bloodline was sold to a family before, like why wouldn't a person want to know that? I don't care what culture you are. That's a very, very serious thing. Like you might want to know how much they cost, how much you were sold for, all that. Even back then, people used to care about their lineage and their bloodline in that way. I mean, but me, even if I had never researched it before, I can tell in my day-to-day life, like, yeah, man, I think right here on this same soil and land, once upon a time, my ancestors were a family of people that were sold off somewhere. And it's crazy how it'll show in modern day time. You didn't even know your ancestors. You ain't even look at the documents and contracts to see if that was true yet. Yeah, like spiritually you can feel that. Like, why do I feel like I deal with more racism than, I don't know, the average black person? I wouldn't care if I go out there and act like them, dress like them, talk like them. They said if you do everything like a duck, you are also a duck. But when I even attempted it, it's like you couldn't miss it. Like other people started to see it too. Like you actually be going through racist comments, racist situations a lot. I was like, do my aura, do my soul just resemble, does it say racism on it or something? No, that's where I picked up on it at somewhere in my ancestry for sure. Somebody thought they had power over my bloodline. And it shows. The only thing left to do is go look into that. And, you can't distract people from that. You can only do it for so long, or it shows what's been going on. How you going to try to hide that they were once a slave and you're still trying to show them that? I was just wondering, you know what I'm saying? Uh, I'm not gonna lie, I gotta cut the stream in a minute because I have a meeting. You know what I'm saying? But after my meeting, I'm gonna be back with part two. This none of our streams are here to offend. First of all, these are only our commentary and reaction for educational purposes as well. Like, I'm not here to try to preach and teach about politics and what they should do with the fouls and stuff like that. I'm talking about literally the history, of sexual assault crimes. I'm going to end the stream with this, a dream I had a while back, because I'm starting to believe in one of my past lives, I actually wasn't even black. Don't ask me how this is possible. It's just a whole dream that led me to believe such. You know what I mean? Either I have something else mixed in my blood, like maybe there was some French people down in my bloodline somewhere, or it just has to be, or I was one of those French people. That's the thing about people saying they believe in bloodline and bloodline history. That would mean, I mean, what do people think they mean? They'd be like, oh, I'm 3% German, 73% Choctaw, and 5% black. I don't care where you put the percentage numbers of all the things you're mixed with. You got to understand that would actually mean what it means. Like, I wouldn't care if it's 2% French. Don't get shocked when that 2% shows itself, pop up and show itself a little bit in the way I live my life sometimes. Maybe that French, that 2% French rise up out of you sometimes. And they be like, what? We didn't understand that person's character that day. Oh, that was just that French that popped up out of me that you thought didn't matter because it said 2%. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm going to end the stream with this dream. In the dream, though, it was a white lady and a black man in a car. That's what I'm saying. How would I know if this was my past life? And I can tell y'all right now, the couple seemed very in love. This is how I could tell. It's like in a dream, I could even see it was a different time frame in history. It looked like the 30s or 40s. It looked like a time in that dream where automobiles had just been created. If I can give anybody like more of a visual of what I saw. And what's crazy? The black man was driving a car. Even if I wasn't around in them times, it was certain things I was looking at in the dream where I'm like, that's okay. Black men could drive cars back then. It was just who I saw on the passenger side. It was like a whole white lady. So I didn't really understand what I was dreaming for a second. But they were riding through the town. Some people were walking down the street. Some were in cars. Some were on horses. This was a whole dream. It was like I was there. And I don't know what happened, but they end up abruptly stopping the car and he took his hand, the black man took his hand and backhanded. That's what you call domestic violence. I'm just trying to show people how long certain crimes have been around. What are you talking about? And no matter what race you were. Because in that dream, it was a black man and a white woman. How you know that you're not the ancestor of somebody who's committed an act that they were tried for already? They probably served time for already. But it'd be like people want you to carry curses of your ancestors for many years going forward, and it's really weird. Especially if you can find the files and documents that prove that ancestor already served time for whatever it was, or they already suffered some type of penalty for whatever it was. How do I control that? That was the ancestors' time and what they went through. But that's a whole fact. Most of this stuff you can look up and you can see that whatever the crime that was committed back then, they usually already served their time for it or been penalized for it. How you gonna try to hold their fifth generation granddaughter to the same stuff 50 years later? That's all. I don't know. It's just something to think about. Cause, and like I said though, he ends up backhanding her like a whole backhand. What was crazy? It wasn't even in the privacy of their home. It wasn't indiscreet at all. Like he did it openly. Just kind of backhanded it. It looked like she was his wife. And I woke up before I could see what else would happen. Like, but it did look like the town was already start cutting up. They start running up on the car. You was a black man too? Just hit a white woman? I said, who ancestor is that I just seen in a dream? Who great 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 uncle or grandpa or great cousin was that? On both the side of the woman? Because the woman was white. She probably was French or Canadian or German, who knows? But the man himself, he was a black man. The one that had, because that was a very punishable crime back then. It was wrong to assault anybody, but some people were even tried and they were innocent. They were just accused of touching a certain race of person, color. They were a certain color, so if they came out and said that a black man hit them, or a black man raped them, or a black man did this to them, that's actually in the history of this country. Like, they actually used to hang them for that, whether they were guilty of it or not. And some people, they just hung them for it because that's what they wanted to do. I think some of these truths and stuff are meant for us to stumble across as far as what has already happened and transpired in history. So you just sat back and watch them say make it great again. When people were being prosecuted for crimes they didn't even do at way more of a higher and frequent rate. I'm gonna be back with a part 2 on this topic. Appreciate you guys' support. Remember to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Any of the three is a small token of appreciation to You Will Make It TV. But I know that feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody just sit back and watch, like, dang, this person ain't gave this purpose up yet, and that's not a crime. To not easily hand over your purpose, to not easily surrender your whole purpose or destiny, your whole future, because that's what you're doing when you just don't try to fight against slavery at all. You're surrendering your freedom at that point. But it is interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because now it make me wonder, like, what tactics really resemble the same tactics that were used back then to keep a person, quote unquote, in line. Thank you guys for your support. Don't forget to hit that subscribe bell, and until next time.